Welcome back to another video on my channel. If you're new here, I'm Jemchulo. I make videos all about self-improvement, psychology, and spirituality. And this topic I'm going to talk about today is extremely important if you want to really know or get the most out of all of those fields. Understanding the shadow. I made 2 videos on the shadow. It feels like it's been so long since I talked about this topic, but it's really it's so foundational in uncovering what's holding you back in life. No matter what area of your life you're struggling with, I guarantee you there's concrete and sound reason for it, and it has to do with you rather than the world. So before I kind of get into what this whole shadow work thing is all about, I know it can sound kind of weird or dark. Shadow work, ooh. The shadow is traits, behaviors, aspects of you that you repress. They can be good or bad, and the reason why it's repressed is because it's not approved of, or it's not seen in a good light or in a way that you perceive as good. So what happens is you as the ego suppresses these aspects. A lot of times it's through childhood, but it can be in adulthood as well. What happens is you as the ego, you suppress these traits in order to protect yourself and not feel pain, really. But the ironic thing is, when these traits or behaviors get suppressed into your subconscious mind, the shadow part of your subconscious mind, what happens is it comes out in very unconscious ways and very negative ways, and ways that where you can't even link the problems of your life to what you're repressing, what you're holding back on. And this is why you see a lot of people that have certain behavioral issues and anxieties and things of that nature and all that, and they have hate in them and they have all this baggage. It's because they haven't addressed it. They just pushed it down and pushed it away or acted like it didn't exist. You can act like your shadow doesn't exist all you want, but it will always just be there. You just won't be aware of it. And what happens is people that can't pinpoint what they're repressing, they start projecting it onto others. So they project, oh, that guy's full of himself, when really themselves, they just don't have confidence. So once they see someone with confidence, they're like, oh, I feel bad that I don't have confidence, so this person's like, I don't like this person because they're so full of themselves, right? And now there are some cases where people are full of themselves, right? Of course, there are cases when people are extremely arrogant, but overall, you get where I'm going here. There's a degree of projection that starts to happen, and the person thinks it's coming from the outside world, but it's really themselves. What you suppress can show up in different areas of your life. Relationships, right? If you're finding that the same thing is happening in your relationships, there's a chance that you haven't changed and you're going into a relationship as the same person and you're getting the exact same results. You're attracting the same types of people, and if you're doing so, it's because something in you is attracting those people. It's not just all women are this way or all men are this way. You have to look at yourself. This video is titled Shadow Work for Beginners. So what does that even entail? So shadow work is uncovering those hidden aspects, behaviors, traits of you that are in your shadow, uncovering it, bringing it to light, and being aware of it, and then integrating it in a healthy way. So, for example, if growing up you had a lack of worldly encouragement, like maybe your parents didn't really encourage you that much, or they didn't really care to kind of, egg you along and root for you in a certain way, and you kind of missed out on that, what happens is you'll try to people may react to it differently. Some may totally try to seek out people's validations all the time. Others may try to distance themselves from people and have this kind of misanthropic viewpoint about the world. So let's say you didn't get really encouraged as a kid, and that's kind of just sitting in a shadow. Like you hate the fact that you didn't really get validated as a kid. Let's say it manifests in a way that you seek out outward validation from people a lot. There are many exercises for this. One of them being is visualization. Visualizing your past self and your present self, right? So picture yourself fixing this issue. Picture yourself being a self-validating individual, right? Picture yourself being somebody that's extremely good in their own skin and they really just need their own approval. Now, as this person, go back in time and think of your past self And it's kind of like a dialogue you have with your past self. What happens is you're communicating that it's okay to feel unvalidated from others, right? You're telling yourself it's okay because, again, how the shadow works is it doesn't believe it's okay to have this certain trait or behavior, so it pushes it down. Once you tell yourself that it's okay that you want to feel validation from others, and it's okay that your parents didn't validate you, that's a great starting point. Now the trait gets viewed as, like, you start subconsciously viewing that as, okay, that experience was okay. As a matter of fact, that experience brought me to where I am today. So now that you have this, you can also go about working on ways of validating yourself and also being okay with the fact that you want to be validated by others, because there may be a part of you that's like, oh, I didn't get validated as my parents, so I shouldn't want to be validated by others. But that's not necessarily the case. So as this gets integrated as your new self, that I am cool with validating myself and I am okay with liking being validated by others, what just happened? You just integrated that part of you that you didn't even know you were suppressing. And it brings a new wholeness to you, allowing you to enjoy many interactions. So when you're not being validated or you are being validated, it doesn't matter as much because you've come to terms with the fact that the lack of validation as a child was experienced, and you're okay with not having that validation as a child, but now as an adult, you're okay with getting it and you're okay with not having it. Cool. So another way of doing shadow work is, of course, one of my favorites, meditation. What meditation does is it silences the conscious chattering mind and allows the underlying things in the subconscious to come out. Some people may have certain anxieties while meditating and certain fears while meditating. That's good. Now it's time for you to experience that and go through that. Because if you're just going to repress it and not want to sit with yourself and analyze yourself and do things like that, sitting in silence, and you always want to stimulate your brain and distract yourself, you'll never uncover those hidden behaviors and hidden beliefs that you have. So meditation really helps you with that. Meditation allows sensations to occur and you're more aware of sensations. And you can tie certain sensations with thought forms that come up. So in the past, maybe you got made fun of for some reason. You can tie in that event and the emotion that is associated with that event, almost like a way where you're reliving the moment. And then during that meditation, you can just accept it, just sit in it and bask in it and say, like, okay, it was okay for me to feel that way, right? It's not like I'm repressing it and like, oh, oh no, I need to be completely positive about that moment and I can't experience that like that. And it's this whole, toxic positivity thing, which I made a video on. So that's extremely important. This is a really cool YouTube channel. It's called The Hidden Isle. Something Isle. I forgot the name, but it's super dope. So this channel is really simple. What happens is there's a woman that walks around with a camera and she tells people just stare at the camera. People just stare at the camera. They're just looking at a camera, like how I'm looking at this camera right now, right? Only difference is they are completely silent. Like they're just staring at it, not talking like I'm talking, just looking right at the camera. What you'll find in this channel is when people look at cameras in these videos, they have a range of reactions, right? Some people are laughing, right? Just looking at a camera, they're just laughing. That'd be my reaction, right? I'm just a laugher. I just laugh a lot, so that's like my natural reaction. Some others kind of have like just like a neutral reaction, just like staring. Others are kind of like have like a weird look, like while looking at the camera. And then there are others that just cry. Like they're looking at the camera and they start crying. They start tears come down their eyes. Why is that? Something is going on to the point where they probably haven't sat in that kind of silence before, where they were just by themselves. The brain wasn't getting stimulated. They're just sitting. Them staring at the camera in that silence. Maybe they can see themselves, like maybe there's a screen where they can see themselves, maybe not. Maybe they're just staring at it. Something is causing them in their subconscious mind to start crying, right? To start having tears come down their eyes just through sitting in silence. So that can start the conversation of them uncovering why is that happening, because that's a reaction they have, but these other people on this channel they kind of just laugh, or some others have, like, there's all this range of reactions just through staring at a camera. So shadow work in a nutshell comes down to uncovering hidden aspects and behaviors of you that you're unaware of. And this can be done with visualization exercise, like kind of going in your past, being in your present self, going in your past, and kind of having that conversation with your old self, right? Because we change, right? We're not who we always used to be. Having that conversation with your old self and coming to terms with being okay with experiencing maybe that past trauma, and seeing if there's a good way in which you can bring that part of you that was kind of not approved of into light. So examples of ways of things people may hide in their shadow. Beliefs about money, right? Growing up, maybe some people struggle with money, so they have negative connotations when it comes to money. Power. Some people maybe had overbearing parents, and they have certain issues with power, right? They have certain problems with even gaining power in a certain sense, and they don't want to go towards that. They don't want to do things like be in leadership roles, because they view it as though, hey, I feel as though I'm being overbearing just by leading people, and that's how my dad was, and I don't want to be like that. Confidence, I touched on that earlier. I've done a lot of work on my confidence, and it has paid off greatly. What I had to do was understand what's preventing me from kind of thinking like a rock star, like thinking like I'm a beast. And I found that it was really just media, and it was people's opinions of how I should be, or how I should talk, or how I should sound, or things like that. So what I had to do was just let go of that, and literally just like let go, and tell myself that it's extremely okay for me to be however the hell I want, because there's only one life to live, right? Other things you can hide in your shadow are activities and hobbies. Maybe even as a teenager, you were really into the guitar, and then your mom or your friends are like, oh, why are you playing that? Oh, you should play this. Why are you playing that? You know, you're gonna hang out with those bad kids if you play the guitar, and you're gonna start skateboarding, and then you're gonna start smoking weed. Like, you kind of have this influence that comes in that tells you this thing about playing the guitar. It's too much to handle. You're like, oh, whatever, I'll just let go of the guitar. Who you are in the past, you had certain information that you do not have right now. So the information you may have right now about how the world works, about yourself, may be more accurate than the information you had previously. So that means if you apply that information right now, you're going to get kind of better results with your life. And your past self did not have the understanding you have now. Going back to that visualization exercise, visualizing yourself talking to your past self and giving that person the new information you have now is a complete game changer. So yeah, guys, that's my video on shadow work for beginners. I hope you guys enjoyed it very much. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, like the video as well. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.